Are people who don't like FF7 Remake in the minority? This subject been discussed in recent weeks, and here's my 2 cents. People who don't like the FF7 Remake trilogy are not in the minority, alright? The trailer for FF7 Revelation has been out for weeks, and it can't even crack 1 million views in the West. Remember, this is the Western-oriented JRPG. I mean, these numbers are a bit old now. We will update these numbers when the video comes out. This is like nearly 3 weeks, just over 800,000 views. Can't even crack 1 million views in the West. Why? Because no one outside the FF7 Remake bubble cares about it. Remake Part 1 turned off a staggering number of players, and Rebirth turned off even more. There were people who had turned off Remake by the fact it was just split into 3 games. They were out from the beginning. When the people who did buy it found out it was some weird multiverse timeline spin-off, it's not actually a remake, Sephiroth's just remaking the story, they were like, okay, I'm out. Then when people played Rebirth, multiple people got turned off because of Chadley, because of Red 13, Dine's censored death, the Aeris death scene. I mean, I could go on. Whereas the original FF7 from 1997 was so huge, it made JRPGs mainstream worldwide. For many of us in the 90s, we learned what a JRPG was through FF7. In fact, many of us, like myself, I didn't even learn what the word JRPG was until about a year after. I kept seeing it pop up, and it's like, oh, that's what FF7 is. And it's like, oh, I just thought that was a Final Fantasy game. Back then, we called JRPGs Final Fantasy games. We're like, oh, it's a Final Fantasy game, but it's like this. It's a Final Fantasy game, but it does that. That's how big it was. As for reviews, if we say it's got like good reviews, I mean, like, no one cares about reviews. Like, we learned this lesson years ago. You know, by that logic, Mixtape is one of the greatest games of all time. So is Dragon Age Veilguard. You can all think of 1 million games that got top-tier reviews across the board. In this day and age, it means nothing. Not too bad, 1,200 likes, you know, 230,000 views, not too bad for the old Twitter sphere. And then we go on to discuss it further. It's not just low trailer views. I don't know the exact sales of FF7 Rebirth, but here's what's available to the public. After 3 years, FF7 Remake Part 1 had sold 7 million copies. On launch, FF7 Rebirth sold 2 million, followed by a 91% drop-off. That's a dismal drop in player interest. And don't take my word for it, look at the articles themselves. 2023, it came out in 2020, then bam, 2 million on launch. This is like a 60-70% drop in player interest. This is insane. And then it just slips, like 91% drop off like right after. This is really bad, guys. This is really, really bad. Yes, PS5 exclusivity was a factor, but you know it wasn't the only one. I talked about millions of players hated the bait and switch of Remake Part 1. Rebirth turned off people with its tone-deaf cringe, its padding, its horrible rewrites. And I'm sure that Rebirth has sold more on PS5 since then. I don't think it's at 2 mil now, but we don't have any official numbers on this. VG Insights estimates that FF7 Rebirth has sold 880,000 copies on Steam. Not looking great. 76% positive reviews. It's, yeah. And there's also Steam statistics that people talk about where a very small number of people on Steam have even beaten Rebirth. I don't know if they're going to get Part 3. Now, why do I think 7 Rebirth hasn't hit 5 million copies? Because Square Enix announces whenever any one of their games hits 5 million copies sold. They did this for Octopath series, they did this for the FF Pixel Remaster series. These were both announced when they hit 5 million, and then they were announced again when they hit 6 million. Bravely Default series, they announced when this series had sold 4 million. You know, the series where you reckon you're pretty tough, don't you? But to this day, there is still no 5 million sales announcement for FF7 Rebirth or FF16. Maybe one day? I don't know. Look, if it sold 5 mil, it sold 5 mil. By all means, you know, just show me the proof. Some FF7R fans claim that Rebirth sold 6 to 7 million copies. Their source is an AI answer and a trust me bro from a message board. Like, I've asked them for their evidence. That's what they gave me. I'm sorry, guys, but that's not good enough. If I used evidence like that, you would laugh in my face, man. If you have the evidence to back up the sales of Rebirth, then by all means share, all right? Like, I can't know everything. Maybe I missed something. I'm just going by what is publicly available. And then let's go through some of these responses, all right? Going off trailer views is a bad argument. No, it's not. It's a pretty big indicator of interest. I mean, look at this, man. 800,000 views. Persona 4 Remake. Over 3 million views. Like, do you remember, chat? Think about how bad this is. I never thought I would see Final Fantasy get crushed by Persona. That would be unthinkable in FF's heyday. A lot of JRPG fans said that Clair Obscur Expedition 33 was only as successful as it was because it had realistic graphics. You know, it was realism slop, as they say. It was westernized. That, you know, normal people think that Persona is the weird anime game. Well, you know what? Final Fantasy has always been the westernized JRPG, the realism JRPG, and it just got crushed by the weird anime game. Like, this is really bad. Do you have any idea how bad this is? This is so bad, bro. This is not a good look for FF, man. And, but don't worry, chat, it gets even worse. Let's have a look at these Steam wishlist statistics. Persona 6, 12,000 wishlists. Final Fantasy Resonance, the 2D mobile game, 12,000 wishlists. FF7 Revelation, it's under 9,000. How does FF Resonance have more wishlists than the biggest JRPG of all time? Like, this should not be real. This is fucked, man. This is really bad, bro. I will throw the people who love this game a bone. I think that the people who love this game and the people who hate this game are both sizable minorities. But I think that the vast majority of players just don't care. I think the vast majority of OG fans are just like, fuck. There's people who love anything with the FF7 label slapped onto it. They are the people who love FF7R. There's a type of fan who's happy as long as FF7-ish things are happening on the screen. As long as FF7-like things are happening on the screen, they're happy. The problem is there's just not that many of these people. There are also people like me who the original game was immensely significant to me on a personal level since I was a child, and I just can't stand seeing how these false remakes basically rewrite the history around the original. It's why I argue against them so much. It's why I make so many videos trying to show how different they are. But again, people who hate 7 Remake with a passion, I would argue that they are also a minority. The lovers are a minority, the haters are a minority. I think the vast majority actually just don't give a shit. I think they just don't care. I think that most people, FF7 was important to them, or they thought it was a great game. Then they looked at Remake and they're like, wait, they're splitting into 3 parts? Oh, well, that's obviously a cash grab. They're obviously just milking it. Oh, damn, it turned out to be a time travel multiverse spin-off? Okay, they're just ripping off Marvel. Bummer, I was really looking forward to that. Oh well, anyway, they go off and play something else. I actually think the vast majority of people just don't give a shit. I think they just don't care. And that is so incredibly sad. And you know what the sad thing is, chat? I'm basically becoming one of those people too. I'm kind of already there. When I saw the trailer for FF7 Revelation, I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel any hate. I just felt tired. I just felt exhausted. Just felt over it, to be perfectly honest. I felt inconvenienced. And you know what? I'm seeing a lot of FF7 Remake fans kind of exhausted by this as well. If you live on Twitter, you'll see that the director of the 7 Remake trilogy, he constantly posts updates like, there'll only be one ending, but you can influence how characters behave in scenes. It's like, okay. Remake Part 3 will wrap up the story. You'll be able to change the ringtone on Chadley. People love Chadley, we'll put more in it. It's like, don't do this. Don't do this. I mean, like, it's just, a lot of FF7 Remake fans on Twitter are saying they're kind of exhausted by this. Like, we don't need constant updates. We're just give us the game when it's ready. Even if I liked the game, I don't think it's a good idea to constantly remind us of this every single week. I think the best way to do this is make a banger trailer that gets everyone excited with the concept of it, and then just go radio silent. Make this great game. And everyone will be like, oh, hang on, I remember that trailer. Oh, shit. Oh, this is going to be good. And then, closer to the game's release, bang, a new trailer that gets everyone soy-facing. It's just like, oh! And then, bang, drop the game, blow everyone's mind. I don't think this whole drip-feeding of little tidbits of information is a good idea, personally. And I think it's exhausting even the people who love this game. In conclusion, I think the people who love this game and hate this game are both minorities, and I think that most people just don't give a shit. I think most people are just disappointed, tired, exhausted, and just ready for it to be over. And that makes me sad. All right, okay, that's the video over. Twitter, FF7 Remake news over. Like and subscribe. Catch me live on Twitch. You know, I'm walking here. Get out of here. Get out of the stream. It's over. It's done.